very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. Is everybody set to go? Man, a beautiful morning here. Beautiful morning. I bet cricket fans are ecstatic this morning because everything looks good out there. I don't see any signs whatsoever of rain. So I guess there's going to be a good day of cricket down at the stadium today. Bet you're probably one of those heading off. If not, I don't even know if you're going to be able to watch it on television. I understand that if the stands are sold out, then yes, they are going to carry it. If not, doo-doo. Oh well. Just let me take a look at something here. Yeah, there we go. Folks, let's take a look at the rundown for this morning's program. We begin with word that Jamaican farmers are being encouraged to grow marijuana. Huh? Wait a sec, find out what that's all about. And in addition to that, we have word that the Cubans have voted in favor of their new constitution. Yeah, man, that's been making the rounds for the past couple of days. And then, of course, we have the national report for you from the GIS. We do have a cruise call update for those of you in the cruise industry, the vendors and taxi drivers and all of you. Yeah, we're going to tell you what's coming up. By the way, we do have a really big ship in here today, the Aida Perla. And there's a smaller one, which is, if I'm not mistaken, making its inaugural call this morning. So we'll fill you in on that. And yes, she is going to be here. I understand she's actually coming in and will be sitting right here next to me this morning. Sharon Roberts, Madame Petit Martinique. Hey? So there you have it. That's our rundown for today's program. Okay, what's going on here? Let's turn this off and turn it back on again. Hey. Okay, here we go. So, let's get down to brass tacks on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Will Grenada ever get to this point? Think about that as you listen to this, my friends. Small farmers in Jamaica are being encouraged not to shy away from the opportunities which are available in the growing of medicinal cannabis because of the perceived prohibitive fees. Speaking at a recently held Jamaica Information Service think tank, Jamaica's Promotions Corporation's manager, gentleman by the name of Don Gittins, said that farmers should approach the relevant authorities in the medicinal cannabis industry for guidance on becoming a part of the industry. He pointed out to them that they might be small and uncertain of how to come up with the fees, or they don't know how to get into the industry. But what JAMPRO will do as the organization responsible for the investment and promotion of the medicinal cannabis industry is to advise them on how to get things done. According to Mr. Gittins, the medicinal cannabis industry is in its infancy stage, and this provides an opportunity for local financial institutions such as cooperatives and friendly societies to form relationships with local farmers and become involved in the industry. He said that the industry is growing at a phenomenal rate and that they need to ensure that they are at the forefront. So, collaborations with small farmers will be critical to being among the first to the market. The cultivation of medicinal cannabis was highlighted by Mr. Gittins as a key area that farmers and local establishments can seek to invest in as they seek to be involved in the industry. He told them that currently 17 of the 29 issued licenses are in the category of cultivation because it is critical to the growth of their local market. So that, that as a result, they're saying that's an area that small farmers may want to take advantage of. All right? So that's it. Cannabis being promoted in Jamaica. And once again, I ask the question, could we ever expect to see that being promoted here in Grenada? Time will tell. Just hang on a sec here for a minute. Yeah. Hang on. Oops. There we go. Okay. The other thing I wanted to share with you this morning before we get into the national report is that Cuba now has a new constitution. The president of Cuba's National Electoral Commission, a lady by the name of Elena Balseiro Gutierrez, has confirmed preliminary results of the referendum, which indicates approval of the new constitution with 86.85% of the votes cast. Preliminary results of the February 24th referendum indicate that 6,816,169 Cubans approved the new Constitution of the Republic. That, pilgrims, is 73.3% of all eligible citizens over the age of 16. Gutierrez also explained to the national and international media that 706,400 persons voted no. That is only 7.6% of the eligible voters. About 7,848,000 persons cast their ballots, representing a turnout of about 84.4%. Yeah? Congratulations, Cuba. New Constitution. Make the best of it. And finally, in this morning's brief intro, newscast, whatever, before you get to the GIS, here's an update on the current cruise schedule. In addition to the regularly scheduled Aida Perla today, I told you that's in here this morning, huge ship, nice ship, came in just before 8 o'clock this morning. The Crystal Esprit is also making its inaugural call, but that's a tiny ship. While the Perla is anchored at the Melville Street Cruise Terminal, the Crystal Esprit is at the old port here, Burnside Point, okay, or Burns Point. Then, there will be 2 unscheduled calls which you ought to be aware of next week. These calls are not on the current schedule put out by the GTA. First of all, Les Champlain on Sunday with 184, and Les Poignards with 67 on Monday. Both the Costa and the Magica the Costa Magica along with the Royal Clipper will also be here on Monday. So it's going to be a kind of busy day in town on Monday. That's going to do it for our little warm-up here, and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the comments from Facebook about the National Report, which comes your way next.
All right. Just before I get into the national report, let me say hi to the folks on social media here this morning. T.F. Richards is saying good morning, family. He's early this morning, always at the top of the list. Margaret Francis is saying hello, 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 hello. Hello, Margaret. We heard you. Good morning, my friend. Bernard Gilbert's also saying good morning, and I see David E.C. Frost is also saying good morning. And regarding that piece I did about the promotion of marijuana in Jamaica, he says, well, I think they are promoting it in St. Vincent. Okay, Jamaica, Grenada, St. Vincent. We next? I don't know. We're going to find out from Sharon in just a week. By the way, she's here, all prepared for cricket. So I imagine as soon as we get through here, she's going to bail out and head down to Queen's Park. You'll see what I mean in just a wee bit. T.F. Richards says, George, I don't support the misuse of cannabis, but the Caribbean islands need to wise up. The U.S. years ago pumped money into law enforcement in the Caribbean to fight cannabis. In my opinion, they were just protecting their industry, as we all know. Sharon giving us a thumbs up. She says, but now that they have locked the market, you see people like St. Vincent scrambling to get into the market. Just imagine, the steel pan has been patented by an outsider, not even a Trinidadian. Think about it. Good morning, Peter Bishop. And by the way, T.F. Richards says, hey, George, you're going to make the man go for a referendum again. Should we promote marijuana? Yay or nay? I wonder who are going to be the focal points running around saying, well, we should or should not. Time will tell. Forget about that. And we're also seeing that Mr. Kipling Francis is saying good morning to you all and sending his blessings. And Dimly Dowden is saying good morning, and to beautiful Grenada. Folks, here comes the National Report.
CARICOM heads discussing Venezuelan crisis and blacklisting of Caribbean countries at their 30th intersessional in St. Kitts. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, February 26th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell and his CARICOM colleagues are meeting in St. Kitts Nevis for the 30th intersessional meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government, which is discussing a range of issues like transportation, the CARICOM single market and economy, and security issues, including the situation in Venezuela. The two-day meeting got underway on Tuesday. Speaking at the start of the meeting, CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque said, and I quote, "The community maintains that the solution must come from among the Venezuelan people and abides by the internationally recognized and accepted principles of non-interference and non-intervention in the affairs of states, respect for sovereignty, adherence to the rule of law, and respect for human rights and democracy," unquote. Prior to this week's intersessional meeting, representatives from Grenada and other CARICOM countries met in two emergency sessions to discuss the Venezuela situation. The blacklisting of Caribbean countries is also on the agenda for the heads of government meeting. Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Peter David, and Foreign Service Officer, Mr. Che Philip, are also attending the CARICOM meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis. On Monday, ahead of the start of the intersessional meeting, CARICOM's Foreign Affairs ministers and those responsible for CARICOM affairs gathered for the 10th special meeting of CARICOM's Community Council of Ministers. While indigenous banks in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union continue to face the threat of the loss of correspondent banking relations, there has been some stabilization. That's according to Mr. Timothy Entwine, Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Speaking recently at the conclusion of the 93rd meeting of the ECCB Monetary Council, Mr. Entwine said the reality remains that a corresponding bank can still decide to sever ties with indigenous banks as a business decision, and this means that indigenous banks must in turn collaborate on risk and compliance as a form of protection.
We do continue to make the point, however, that as part of a defense mechanism to secure and protect our correspondent banks, it is absolutely important that our banks look for further collaboration and consolidation. That is to say, one of the real issues here is not just the risk profile of the region, but the size of the transactions or the size of the business. For some of the correspondent banks, that is what it boils down to. This is not sufficiently attractive or profitable for me vis-a-vis the risk, and therefore I'm exiting. And so we've encouraged our banks to come together more and more. And I can tell you right now, without going into details, that there's an initiative afoot to look at whether we can collaborate on risk and compliance across the indigenous banks. One shared service that will actually lower their costs, but also give additional comfort and confidence to not just us as regulators, but even the correspondent banks about the ability to take care of things like AML, anti-money laundering, and combating financing of terrorism. So that's a work in progress, but the good news is that the situation has stabilized.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatalities. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Russia's new ambassador to Grenada, His Excellency Alexander Kermaz, says his country is open to pursuing bilateral cooperation in developing renewable sources in Grenada. His commitment came during presentation of his credentials to Governor General Dame Cécile La Grenade on Tuesday.
Our business continues exploring Grenadian offshore zones to find more oil and gas deposits. We're furthermore open to pursuing bilateral cooperation in developing renewable energy source in Grenada, as well as in mitigating the consequences of natural disasters. And in this regard, I am committed to facilitating various forms of business and economic exchanges between our countries. Likewise, I reaffirm our openness to proposals from the Grenadian side on the areas where enhanced bilateral cooperation is desirable.
Russia and Grenada have enjoyed cordial and cooperative diplomatic relations since September 2002, with Grenada benefiting in the areas of scholarships, training for members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, and methods for countering terrorism and illicit narcotic counteraction. Governor General Dame Cecilia Grenada says Grenada is grateful for the assistance.
Your Excellency, we thank you for this important area of assistance to our police force, which is helping to maintain the peace and security of our nation, for which Grenada is well known. In 2013, Russia made a generous donation of over $100,000 worth of medical equipment to the General Hospital. Your Excellency, we are thankful for the generous support of the government and people of Russia geared towards improving the health facilities in our country. Your Excellency, Grenada will continue to collaborate with the Russian Federation on issues of mutual concern as we work towards deepening the relationship between our two governments and peoples.
Grenada is making strides towards amending its ocean governance policy and structure by October 2019 to meet the goals outlined in the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Grenada is one of several participating countries in the Caribbean region Ocean Escape Project. The $6.3 million project is being funded by the Global Environment Fund. The aim of the project is to build awareness on existing ocean policies and structures and to formulate ideas to strengthen these policies to effectively manage the ocean space. The Grenada leg of the Ocean Conservation Workshop was held recently.
The project in itself is comprised of 3 components, and presently the project is looking at doing the component 1.2. That's sub-component 1.2 of project component 1, which entails looking at the ocean governance structure in and framework in participating territories, member states, and where there are policies that exist, looking to refine it and make it. Refine it, modified it, and to be in keeping with the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, and where in participating countries that don't have national ocean policy, to develop national ocean policy and strategy.
That's national focal point for the OECS governance team, Mr. Ian Noel. He hopes that by October, Grenada can have a final document of proposals and policies to present to the OECS Commission and the World Bank.
From that, they would do a draft policy for revision, and they would come back sometime in June, and we'll have another consultation, this time maybe for a couple of days, which we would go through the draft policy and refine it, and they would then go back, do the necessary work, and come back sometime in maybe October with the final product.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
All right, folks. All right. Now, while you were listening, our National Report analysts were at work. First of all, let me say good morning to Joey C. Smith, who's wishing us all a blessed day. Now, Kepling Francis says, yes, we know Minister Peter David must be there. The PM cannot leave him home. No way. You know, Minister David is accompanying Prime Minister that conference. Yeah. T.F. Richard says, CARICOM discussing the Venezuelan situation can be compared to drivers discussing the price of gasoline. He says, there's nothing they can do. Nothing. He goes on to say, does anyone really know what's the ocean focal point? They were talking about that in the report. He says, I'm sure the average man is left confused based on this news clip. Well, Margaret agrees with TF because Margaret says, the average man is confused about everything in that report. Ah, yes. Okay. Folks, take a look. There she is. And you see the colors? You see the colors she's wearing? Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning.
How are you?
Blessed and highly favored.
Blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
Especially because there's sunshine out there today.
Yes, and there's going to be cricket.
Were you down there on Monday?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was sitting there, and by midday, I thought, I'm sure I had better things to do than to look at the rainfall.
So, okay, so you spent a couple hours.
I was there from about a few minutes to 9.
Yeah.
And I left at 12:15.
Okay. What was, first of all, was there a good turnout?
There was a decent turnout. It was a sort of party atmosphere, meeting up with people you didn't see for a while, and everybody was chatting, and I don't think people cared that there was no cricket.
Yeah.
You know, even some people just put their umbrellas out, and it wasn't heavy rain. It was just a drizzle,
Right.
constant drizzle. So I got wet a couple times, and I thought I even fell asleep at one time. And I thought, so I went home.
Okay, and yeah, based on what Ray was telling us yesterday, apparently the rum shops in River Road must have done pretty darn good business.
Oh yes.
Yeah?
Yes. When I went outside to leave, the place was full of people outside on the roads,
Yeah.
drinking and chatting, all into town. KFC was jammed.
I would imagine.
Everybody was. It was a sort of party atmosphere. I don't think people really. I mean, you're sorry you didn't have cricket, but a few people may ask back for their money, but I don't think many people would.
Would there be refunds if people ask for money?
According to the rules, there should be, because not even one ball was bowled, so they should get back their refund.
But then couldn't the organizers say that it was an act of God?
Yes, but according to the written rules, and this is they don't think much about God, eh? That's the reality.
Yeah. Were you at the Carronage last night?
No. I had a lot of work to do, and last night I was cooking for some people.
Okay.
So.
Well, let me tell you, I sat right in this chair last night and had all the noise from down there. Yeah.
Must have been good
there were
then.
quite a few performers. They turned out.
Okay.
And from what I saw, because it was streamed. It was streamed. I think Mikey live streamed it. The GIS also streamed it. And they had a decent turnout, But it was the usual soca,
Yes.
soca.
I saw somebody posted, or somebody was live, and she's one of my friends, so I got a notice that she was on live. And I saw Scholar on stage, and
Yes, I saw.
and I thought, typical jump and wave, and
Yeah. Same old, same old.
well, if that is what they're selling Grenada to be, I'm surprised that people would come back.
Yeah. Hold on a sec here. Spice Babes Duncan says, George, good morning. Venezuela crisis deserves all our prayers. Yes, Spice Babes. I have been offering a couple, believe me. T.F. Richard says, George, quick question for Sharon. Would there be Kaluki during the luncheon period of the cricket today?
Wow, this person must really know us good.
He's here every day.
We carry cards in our cars. We went driving around the island, and two of the girls were shocked when we took out a table and the cards came out, and they said no. So we have pictures of a few of us.
He also goes on to say, but George, that's the atmosphere of Caribbean cricket. The old talk, drinking, etc. So rain or no rain, we supporting.
Exactly.
There are loyal fans in Grenada still, believe it or not, loyal fans. And they are not going to miss an opportunity to have a good time. Yeah. So getting back to last night, yeah, man, they went on until, I guess, just about 11 o'clock or so. And at the start of the evening, I couldn't see from here at the time, and I wasn't looking online, but they did have some cultural performances. And then after that, it was soca all the way, and Specto was there.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, Mr. Scholar. Anyway, so today I imagine some of them may have headaches as they head down to Queen's Park.
Well, they could sleep.
Lack
they
of
could
sleep. Yeah. Now, what's up your sleeve today, Sharon?
Well, today I'm heading for the stadium, and my brother Kennedy is hosting Kaluki, so I know that we're gonna get some good food tonight.
Tonight is
So,
Kennedy's
to
turn.
Wednesday, tonight is Kennedy's turn.
Kennedy, leftovers, please. Yeah.
I'll organize you, don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And did you were expecting some people from Canada last week? Did they come?
They came and they're here again tonight.
They're here again tonight.
Yeah.
Who are these folks?
The guy is one Anthony Joseph from Carriacou, lives in Toronto, married to Helen, Trinidadian. But they come. They normally go to Trinidad for Carnival, but they're gonna be in Carriacou this weekend for
Okay.
Carnival.
So tonight is Kaluki night.
Tonight is Kaluki night,
Yeah.
but we have a packed weekend because Saturday is Grand Save Food Fest. So
Talk about that for me a minute. This something's been going on for years, eh?
for years, and a couple of years when my mom was around, a few the people in Montparnasse, quite a few of them are from Pitamartinic, so they had a Pitamartinic stall, and she passed, and while they had the Pitamartinic stall, Kennedy and myself did a Belizean stall, because I'm also a Belizean citizen.
You are?
Oh yeah, I was married to a Belizean, lived in Belize. I have 3 sons and 6 grandchildren in Belize. So we did a Belizean stall with pibil, pork, and tamales, and ganaches, and all the Mexican kind of foods. And my mom passed and we stopped. But this year, Odinga, who, Odinga Charles, Blair Charles,
yeah.
she picked back up with the Pitamartinic stall last year, and this year she's going to be back with it. So they're going to have Saraka, which is a famous Pitamartinic. That's part of our culture. Saraka.
Okay, and this Gren Save, it's a fundraiser, an annual fundraiser.
Yes.
And they've got food from a lot of different countries.
They normally ask people living here who are citizens of other countries to represent.
Put up
So
a
you
little
have,
stall.
if you like hot dogs and hamburgers, you look for the U.S. stall. They have a Cuban stall. They normally have from all the different countries.
Yeah.
So you go and taste. Jamaica stall is normally really good.
Yeah. And Grenada, obviously, oiled down.
Grenada have all different stuff. Everything you eat in Grenada, you would normally find
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And Pity Martinique's going to have Saraka.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And this starts at what, 1 o'clock?
Starts at 12.
12 o'clock?
12 and goes till about 6
Do you
at the
know
Trade
what?
Center.
Is there an admission fee?
I think adults is either $5 or $6, and children 12 and under is free. And you go in and you buy your food.
Okay, so I get in for free and I have to buy my food.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a child of God.
Yes. I thought about you on, when was it, on Monday? Because, do you know Valerie Thompson?
Yes.
Valerie and I were talking on Monday morning, and hold on a sec here before I get to Valerie. TF says, George, our marketing personnel are fools, for want of a better word. We have to know what to sell on your island based on the occasion and its followers. I say this to say that the persons who support and travel the world during cricket are not jump and wave necessarily, but people who would want to see the originality of our island, not the jump and wave as compared to when there's a track and field meet that attracts the younger people. And he has a point here. Sometimes, these guys, they get on stage and they think they're doing such a fabulous job. But if you're in the audience, especially when you have visitors to the island, yes, they want to see, they know the Caribbean is a fun place and they want to see people have a good time. But some of the stuff that's put on there just bores the stuffing out of them, and eventually they just take off.
Exactly. You know, I went to Aruba, and Aruba, where beauty is concerned, has nothing on Grenada. Nothing. The only thing they have, casinos. But the way they market the place, the friendliness when you get in, and on one night they have, like last night, for example, they would have each section, like the Vaco, the Shotney, Jab, present individually, and somebody explaining what this mass is about. And they come around with masks, you know, the little eye cover part. And then they have a parade which you join in. And they have a whole parade, so you get a little feel of the carnival spirit. And to me, I know carnival, I participate almost every year, and yet I enjoyed being part of the whole thing in Aruba.
Yeah.
And this is something they could try instead of you standing in the crowd and watch people jump up and wave. And these days is what? Pick up something and run?
Yeah. Yeah. Or pick up something and wave. Jennifer Myers is joining us, and she says, "Hi, George. Good morning. I'm really late, but not too late to share my blessings with you. Have a fabulous day." Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you. Very kind of you. Keep coming. I need those blessings every morning. Getting back to Valerie. Valerie we were talking about local government, okay? And we have heard this promise over and over and over again. And I said to her, I wasn't very optimistic, you know. But she brought me to a screeching halt because she said that apparently she'd been speaking with a minister in Carriacou, and the minister seems very determined to implement local government. What about Pity Martinique?
Listen to me, George. This whole thing is a farce. Do you know that in our constitution, it calls for local government for Carriacou and Pity Martinique?
Yep.
How many years we celebrated the other day? 40 somebody?
45.
Hello. The last, how many years back? Before before NDC came into being in 2008, was it?
Yeah.
They started talking about it. When NDC was in power, things were moving at a fast pace. Miss Sylvester, Bernadette Sylvester, who was a PS under the NNP, became the point person for local government. And things were going ahead real nice. And 2013 came, and they squashed it. And now they're trying to bring it back. It's a waste of time. It's something to according to our local old talk, they're giving us that to hold.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Nothing will come of it. Pity Martinique, they don't care about Pity Martinique.
I was just going to ask you that.
They don't care. One of my relatives in Pity Martinique, who is a justice of the peace, I love him very much, but he sold his soul to them. There are so many cases, and during the election I spent a lot of time in Pity Martinique, and I have a list of people who voted who were not supposed to vote, who are working in Pity St. Vincent and came in, and they sleep in Pity Martinique. They don't live in Pity Martinique. They did not come in legally through the immigration. And he signed petition and allowed his people to vote. One young lady who came into Pity Martinique with a boat, not through immigration, 4 months she spent on the island. She's from Dominica and came in after Hurricane Maria. 4 months. And he signed a petition and he allowed her to vote. You know why? They said they'll make him a senator. Senator way. Eh? Look how long they're celebrating a year in a couple of weeks. They have how many senators from Carriacou? They have a minister from Carriacou. They have Senator Steele. They have Senator Cox. The last senator from Pittimartinic was Michael Caesar, who dead and gone, God rest his soul. You think they have time for Pittimartinic? I was coordinator for Pittimartinic Affairs, and we raised funds. At the time, I was the chairperson on the church committee. We raised funds to build a road from the road to the church. The road was so bad that when you go into church, you take out your shoes because you don't want your shoes mashed up on the road. And when you reach in the church, you put on your shoes. That's how bad it was. And the people of Pittimartinic built the road. Right now, the road they have going around the island is so bad, the stones showing. They don't do anything for Pittimartinic until there is an election.
Sure.
And you hear them come and talk nonsense. The people who care about Pittimartinic don't have to wait for election. We don't have to wait for a season. I sponsor a band or something every year during the regatta. These people don't have time. When Nicholas Braffett was Prime Minister, he would come up to the regatta and sit down and play dominoes with the people. This one would come up during election and pass around and smile and grin. That's it.
So bottom line is that the Pittimartinicans really don't give too much of a hoot about local government.
Well, I guess if they really educate them and tell them what it is, and they're supposed to, but I don't think they care. I don't think they even know much about local government. The few people that might know, maybe.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned, you used the term a little while ago. You said, you're giving them something to hold, or they give them something to hold, right?
Yeah.
But when you mentioned that, the thought that came to mind was something that was making the rounds after the rained out day at cricket this week. The fact that Grenada was promised a lighting for the national stadium.
That is a pet peeve with me. You know, one of the things that people may not know is that politics is in our blood, the Roberts clan. Politics in our blood. And throughout the Caribbean, our grand-aunt, who is the grandmother of our Governor General, she and my grandfather are siblings, brother and sister. And she was the first female politician per se. She was the first minister. Now, Nicholas Braffett is our pumpkin vine family. Okay. In St. Vincent, we have James Mitchell, my grandmother's nephew. In St. Lucia, we had John Crompton, my grandmother's nephew. You know, I go as far as Belize, and my cousin-in-law is the present Prime Minister of Belize. And one time I remember Francis Alexis asked me, why are you not in politics? And I thought, who, me? I'll push fire on the outside. I'll get on the stage, but I'm not going to get involved in politics. So as coordinator of Pittimartinic Affairs, I did everything for Pittimartinic. I had a so-called salary. They were paying me $1,000 a month. And that went towards supporting people in need. Because they are so petty. I remember one old lady who had to travel with water on her head because she didn't have a tank. And she begged Mr. Nimrod for a tank. And you know why he wouldn't give her? Because she and Michael Caesar were related and they were friends. So I bought a tank for her. And I remember in 1999, she came to my office in tears. She said, Cousin Sharon, people telling me that I voting for Nimrod, but I'm not voting for Nimrod. I said, who you voting for? This time I campaigning for Nimrod. I said, who you voting for? She said, I'm voting for you, Cousin Sharon. I said, show me where you put in the X. And she showed me. I said, vote for me. Now, Pittimartinic people are full of heart. They're full of heart. And when they love forever. And that is us. but it hurts me to see people take advantage of them. Look what's happening. I'm going up there next 2 weeks. And somebody was telling me just last night, that is terrible. You get to Harvey Vale. If you go into Pittermartnick and let's say you come from abroad and you have 2 or 3 suitcases and you get to Harvey Vale, you have to find a taxi because your stuff can't hold in a bus. So you have to pay extra to get into Tongue or to Wynwood to then get another boat to Pittermartnick. You know? The school children, every day there's children on the water, you know. And the price just keep going up. And if you know that Pittermartnick parents and mothers are stay-at-home mothers, few of them work. Maybe 2 or 3 of them in the school.
Yeah.
So local government, what will it really do for Pittermartnick?
We'll
I
have to
don't
wait
know.
and find out if it ever happens. You know, Valerie sounded very, very optimistic that this lady was serious. And I said to her, you know, Valerie, even though I feel the way I do, because of all the past promises that have never been delivered upon, I said, listen, if this is going to be the case, I'm prepared to throw my full support behind helping to make this thing happen, you know. But Sharon, it's just so many promises, Forgive me, but I'm a little bit cynical because of all the promises that have just not materialized, like the lighting, for example. You know, what was really interesting in that piece that was on the government website, gov.gd, it said, 1, the funding had been secured, right? They got the funding. 2, it said that a contractor, they named the contractor who was going to be doing this project.
And it was starting in a couple of weeks.
And starting in a couple.
I go all around the bush and I didn't answer your question, but yes, it's there in, as I say, in black and white, although it's in color. They named the contractor, the person who funded the Canadian bank. The amount and the time it was starting, which was a couple weeks shy of the announcement.
And that was in 2015, eh?
15 or 16?
That was in 15, because I think, you know, after I saw that piece from the government website, I decided, you know what? In this day and age, people Photoshop a lot of stuff and they make up a lot of stuff. So let me go to the site myself. And try and pull it up. And I couldn't find it. I could not find it. I did a search. So then I did a Google, and I saw where Senator at the time, Brenda Hood, made the same comments.
Okay.
In a regional news publication called Caribbean Journal.
Okay. So you see, my question is, where is that money?
Well, I asked yesterday morning. I asked Ray Roberts the same question. And, you know, first of all, Ray is not in favor of lighting the stadium. He knows it's going to cost a lot of money, and he believes that that money could be better spent on other things. For example, our healthcare system right now is in the shambles. Okay? And he could not answer. So we were speculating, well, maybe it was put to some other good use. If it was, Sharon, that's fine.
No,
that's
George.
Fine.
No, it's not fine, because when somebody give you money, when these donors give you funds for something, they mean for it to be used for that. And if it is used for something else, they have to pay them back. You hear me? Because when you apply for these funds, for example, some time ago, UNESCO funded, I think it was a program that my husband was doing. It was called Empowering Teachers with Emotional Coping Skills. Now, he has that program which he did throughout the Caribbean and so, and he presented UNESCO with the program, and they said they'll fund it because it's good for the schools. He did half of the program. They're paying it through the Ministry of Education. The PS at the time said to him, "Why you must get all this money?" So she decided to take some of the money and use towards a program that she had applied to UNESCO for, and they didn't fund it. Well, government changed just around that time. Prime Minister Thomas was in power. And one day I'm driving down Lucas Street and he happened to call me. And he said, "You okay?" I said, "Kinda." I said, "But something is really bothering me." And I told him about this incident. He said, "Why you didn't tell me this before?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to just come and talk to the Prime Minister about something like that. But I told the Minister for Education. She had to give, the PS had to give back the money. I'm not going to call her name, but she know who she is. Funding was given after Ivan to repair the roof of the prisons. They use it for something else. When the organization who funded it realized what happened, they had to pay it back.
Okay. That being said, yes, I understand the point you're making. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, hey, if even there was an emergency or something and the funds had to be spent somewhere, after you've come out waving this flag about, you got the money, it's coming, we're going to start in 2 weeks, and this is who's going to be doing it and all of that, something goes wrong, hey, come back and say, "Hey, pilgrims, look, so-and-so, tell us.
Yeah.
But nobody is saying a word.
It's more than likely in somebody's pocket. So who's going to say?
Well, yeah. I guess they're supposed. Okay. Margaret says, "George, Sharon is quite correct about that. The funds have to be used for what the funding agency gave it for, or else you can be asked to pay back."
Exactly.
Thanks, Mags. Okay, Sharon, listen. Fitzroy Adams says, "Good morning to all. I'm happy the game is on." Now, I see you wearing the Wendy's colors here and everything. Look at that, man. Take a look. So I imagine you have to get out. The game starts at 9:30, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's now like half an hour into the game. I don't want to keep you
That's
here
okay.
much longer. But just let me read a couple of comments here. Hold on. T.F. Richard says, no, hold on a minute. I read that one already. T.F. Richard says, "George, on another note, Jumami Williams, a young man of Grenadian parentage, won the election for New York City Public Advocate. Kudos to Grenada. And by the way, he is extremely proud of his Grenadian heritage." A few years ago, I did my Sunday program in New York, and he was actually a guest on the program.
Very good.
Huh?
Very good.
First time I had met this gentleman, never seen him, but just very exuberant, very decent person. And I remember saying to him, "You're going to go a long way." And last night, somebody was streaming out of New York the post-election celebration. And I remembered that when I watched that last night. So congratulations, Jumami. Congratulations. Boy, they were ecstatic in New York last night, eh? Glenn Andrew Mark is saying good morning and hopes that we can get some good cricket today. Go West Indies. Kipling Francis here. Kipling, I have never met this man, Kipling, but he's a very cynical person, very, very cynical. And he says, "What we have in Grenada is a leap year government when it comes to doing what has to be done."
It's true.
I think that's it. Okay, Sharon, thank you so much, my dear. Always good to see you on a Wednesday morning. And I'm going to try and make it down to Grensave on Saturday afternoon.
Very good.
By the way, Margaret, I'm sure you heard us talking about food. And I'm just sitting here visualizing you, Margaret, going, I'm just visualizing that. Margaret, Sharon had promised me that if I didn't make it down, she would save some of the food for me. But I really want to get down there in person. She's going to save the Pity Martinique food, the Carriacou food.
Pity Martinique.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The Saraka, right? That's what she's going to say. But I want to go there in person because the displays, the food displays that are put on are just outstanding. This is a very successful event every year. It's been going for several years now. And I want to sample places other than Pity Martinique. So I'm not going to eat between now and Saturday, so I'll have a lot of room, put some stuff in, okay? Kipling Francis says, the money given for the Coast Guard from Trinidad, gone, gone, gone. Do you remember that?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Hey, you want to see money evaporate? Come to Grenada, man. Hey? Hate to say that, but it's,
It's true.
It's true. It's very sad. Very, very unfortunate. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
And I hope your
Bye.
team wins.
I hope so, but win or lose, it's going to be fun.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Okie doke, my dear friends. There goes Sharon. And tell you what, we're going to take another quick little break here, and then we'll come on back and wrap it up.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy. We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Redleg, energizing our Grenada.
All right, folks, one final visit to two final visits to Facebook. Margaret says, George, just remember, monkey say, cool breeze. Crapo say, wait a while. Yeah? Okay, Margaret, I get it. I get it. Kipling says, George, speaking the truth, no matter how bad it is. That's not bad talking, as some people may say. Yeah, I know your intentions are very, 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 very good, Kipling. I understand very well. And you hit the nail on the head over and over. But it's just kind of amusing sometimes watching the stuff you come up with. I just don't know where you come up with that stuff. But anyhow, good to see you, my friend. Take care. My dear pilgrims, parting word comes to you from Job 24, verses 22 to 25. But God drags away the mighty by his power. Though they become established, they have no assurance of life. He may let them rest in a feeling of security, but his eyes are on their ways. For a little while, they are exalted. And then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. Remember that. Job 24, verses 22 to 25. I'm not making that up. It's written in the Holy Bible. Check it out. Okie dokie, pilgrims. On that note, Georgie Porgy, as usual, is going to go try and feed his face, then run some errands, and get back to putting together tomorrow morning's program. Thank you so much for joining us. I do wish you God's blessings, and you have a wonderful day, whatever it is you undertake. Always, please, give your best for Grenada, and remember to love the Lord your God who created you. Ciao.